All right, let's try this again. Now you guys can hear me because I can see the audio moving. Ah, mic check 1 2 1 2. Chat is disabled for this live stream. I can't fucking win. Ah. So my audio was fine. Oh, it cut out temporarily. I see. There we go. Now we're good. Streaming now. Audio fixed. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Let's get it. Time to be happy. Time to be organic. Life is amazing. Let's just wait for a few more individuals to come. Let's see if they have arrived. New stream started. Once again, let's just invite everyone quickly, see what's going on around here before we enter the market. Because I'm doing this recap one time. Now that I can see my audio, I'm willing to continue. Because it is important. La. But I don't like how low the bar is. Interesting. They definitely need to fix that feature. Okay, so welcome back. Let's resume. I see that you have arrived. So as I was saying, today was an interesting day. For those of you just joining in, tuning in, today was our first loss this week, which isn't too bad. Our first real loss. Like a lost day. So Monday was a wonderful day. We were 3-0. Tuesday was 2-0, and then today was 0-2. Why did I trade the way that I trade today? So if you're familiar with how I do things, for years I've been trading opening range breakout. I, over time, fine-tuned opening range breakout based upon laws that I have found that worked. Just like gravity has a law, I made my own laws. So if certain things happen, 80 to 90% of the time, this outcome is coming. If you jump up in the air, 90%, 99% of the time, you're coming back down due to gravity, right? So this is the difference between the fundamentals and the technicals. This happened this morning around 8:30 and change, right? There was a lot of sporadic news, let's say, based upon tweets, based upon Jerome Powell speaking, based upon Trump saying or having a certain executive order. So today, Jerome Powell said, and Trump both stated that the rates should come down further, and they're not going up. The whole thing with international situations, as well as CDC, the word's right here. I'm a banker. Wow. The Federal Reserve will not make a stable coin or back any type of stable coin. It will have to be a reserve of Bitcoin. So this also made cryptos go crazy. As a reminder, fundamentally, due to all of these new crypto ETFs and etc. Let me also double check if you're commenting on anything. Please, if you're here and you would like to type in the general chat so that I can see your questions and see what you would like. Okay? For those of you who would like to ask questions or comment on anything that I am saying. So, this drop happened due to one of those news or all of the news. From my experience from January, usually when we're in, I call it political markets, after an election, new president, you can actually go back and look this upon your chart. We are usually in ranging markets or extending markets. Ranging markets means, as you saw pretty much today, it was a lot of trap zones. You would enter a direction, it would go the complete opposite direction up to a point. You would most likely close it, and then it would go right back to your original entry that you placed anyway, meaning if you stayed in the trade, it would have been as if you never entered anything or zero or break even. Ranging markets. Comes up, goes down, same spot. Even if it's 1,000 pips. Like today, the 400% retracement. That was ridiculous to me. So, looking at this and knowing a political market, I was expecting a further downside. So as I said, I saw this first candle. I saw it wick. I specifically waited for the wick. I actually wanted it to retest this red line. If I followed my own laws to the T, today's loss wouldn't have happened on Robinhood futures, which I was testing newly today. I just decided to use my main account. Okay. So yes, I entered at the candle opening. So about this time, I'm positive 400, 500 on Robinhood futures, not Trade Locker yet. Okay. As it started to consolidate, this is the bottom. So if you trade with me Monday, Tuesday, for those of you joining the WAP, you notice that I use trailing stop losses on purpose so that we have a risk-free trade. Usually if you're 20 to 30 pips into profit, to 20 to 30 ticks into profit, you would move your stop loss a little bit above your entry to secure a couple of bucks or at least your fee. So yeah, consolidation, yada, yada, yada. This was tricking people out. So a lot of buyers came in, the fake out came, literally at the low, reversed, and then it never turned back for an 100% retracement. So, okay, what are these lines now? So at 9:30, the New York session opens. New York markets open, which we're going to put back my market session volume profile. Okay. So as you see here, 9:30, the market started to recover. This is where the laws come into play. So if I followed my own law instead of just being, well, also I'm looking at a Robinhood chart. I don't have all of these fancy things at my job currently. But if I followed orb to the T, HOK orb, 9:30 here, boom, market started growing. The red line is the low of the orb day so far. Okay, boom, it made a quick high. It started to reject. So usually when you're participating in HOK orb, you're not entering until about 10 o'clock. You're watching right now. So anything before 10 o'clock is kind of at your own risk. You know? So boom. You would wait for the extension. Now the green line is created around 9:55 because that is now the high of the opening range breakout period. It rejected the high of the orb range period. I'll tell you why I call it period. Because there's a day and then there's a period. The dashed lines are the high and lows of the day. The green and red line is the high and lows of the opening range, time frame. 9:30. So for me, it's 9:30 to about 11. 9:30 to 10:30. Let the range set before the day, continues. Because the opening range to me usually sets the tone for the rest of the day. Okay, now here's a law. So law 1. Usually, if a market stays between the opening range breakout session, so if it stays between the high and the low of the session, if it stays between the green and the red lines at 10:20 or 10:30, when the lines are set, so you see right here how this green line is lower than this green line. That's because the high of the day changed before the session finished. So at 10:20, 10:30, this is the final decision high of the opening range session. So now it's fixed. It's never going to move again for the rest of the day, which helps us. Okay. So yeah, now it's about, so like I told you, 10:15, boom, we hit a new high. Now the session is locked, 10:25. So we have our highs and lows. If I paid attention to TradingView, or if we happened to be on TradeLocker, we would have caught this better. I was on Robinhood, so that's my apologies. Trying new things. This is what happens when you try new things on a real account. So, rule number 1, within the zone. So let's call it that. We reject the high, the opening range high of the day, as you can see here. Literally, we rejected this green line. Yeah, we passed it a little bit, but there was no retest. We passed this line, but there was no retest. It rejected and came down. So, if you follow our laws, this would have been your entry point for the sell instead of us chasing it all day today. Salute. Okay. So, we should have realistically entered the day like right here, because we would have saw the rejection. We wouldn't have entered exactly on the rejection, but that would have been the rejection. You could have entered here, waited for the retest. All right. You would have had that quick little green candle, but you would have ate up to a point with 2 of you as my witness. You've seen me trade. We usually trail our stop loss. So as this came down, the stop loss would have disappeared. We most likely would have got stopped out right about here. So what reward would we have caught? About 500 ticks. Or 59 pips at that time. So we would have had a decent amount of at least something today, right? Based upon that rule right here. Boom. Let the orb set. Find out if it's going to reject or break through the high. So it rejected the high. On the second reject, we sold. Yeah, we had a little drawdown for 10 minutes. And then it sold off for about a reward ratio of 592. then it would have stopped us out. So that most likely on a 0.01 would have been realistically 40, 50 bucks. Okay. On my futures, it happened to be 2,500 in the opposite direction, which means I lost $2,500 today, which isn't too bad. I'm not crying. I'm not hurting about it. I was just disappointed because I should have practiced on Robinhood futures before just jumping into it. Okay. Sorry. I'm skipping too far ahead. So yeah, this happened. Now we're stopped out. We're wondering what to do next, right? If we stick to the plan, we're waiting on a rejection on the high or the low because we're already out of the trade. If you're looking at orb, let's clear this chart up. Let's clear these drawings up. So if you're looking at the chart, if you're looking at the low right here and the high green right here, let's take this off too so you can see the green. Sorry. Okay. So you see the green line. If it stays, law one, if it stays within range, you're just going to play the highs and the lows. You'll wait for the rejection, sell the high, wait for the rejection, buy the low. But now, if it breaks, which is going to come eventually, so boom, we got stopped out, it came, it broke the green line, the orb high, the opening range high. So it broke the opening range high at this moment. What do? You do not enter yet. Under HOK orb law, this is law number 2. So when it's, let's say, a bullish market, right? If it's bullish, it would break the green high. After it breaks through the green high, usually there's a point of retest. In this case, there was no retest. Kind of a retest. It had a little pullback. So it didn't come all the way down to the green line. But this would have been an opportunity to enter. And like I said, full transparency, today I lost $2,500. Right? I am truly transparent. I am not afraid to show you my losses, but I'm not afraid to show you my wins either because we are profitable traders. This is what we do. Aside from being sponsored by Trade Locker, certified funded trader from TopStep. I just like doing this to show you guys it is possible. Like I said on Trade Locker, you can have a 66% win ratio and still be highly profitable based upon certain rules you make for yourself, discipline rules, right? We'll get into that later. So we were waiting on a retest. So let's say you bought here. It was kind of close. You still got a good, let's see what this is. How many pips was this? Tomorrow will be profitable. It's okay. So then we'll talk when we do our recap tomorrow. It's going to be way better because we'll have wins to show. Today was just a bad day. So you could have had a quick, what's the risk to reward? $121 points, ticks before getting stopped out. But now let's see if my rule continues. Look, it came down, almost retested at the same level. Almost. So now, technically the POC should have, it did shift. So this red line is considered is the point of control. Usually the point of control is the average of all value. The point of control is usually where the wicks refuse to move. Okay? As you saw, the point of control, yes, did make it up here. The skinny red line, known as POC, POC, point of control, it shifts throughout the day as the market shifts. So where it's at now is the final POC, but it incrementally shifted upwards. Okay? So we could have added into this position as well. This would have been another This would have been another few points. Okay. So even if you only stayed and you clicked buy, right? Because these are only 3 chances I would have took. So 1, 2, 3. That totals over 500 ticks. If you were patient and waited, which is harder. It's harder said than done. I understand. But it ended up a bullish market. I failed because I went off of instinct from a fundamental analysis point of view. So that's where I failed today. But on the flip side, our Top Step did amazing today. Because for Top Step, I caught this sell, which was $1,500 because it was an overnight trade that I entered about. Where's 11? Boom. And so yeah, about. Well, no, that's too high. The fuck? It was by the green lines. It was like 12, 11, 12. Okay, so around 10 o'clock then. It's like right here is when I ended up selling. Obviously, I was asleep during all this drawdown, which is why sometimes I do like trading at nighttime because you're not watching. And then boom, that quick 1,000, like 400 or 500 on Top Step, but I lost 2,500 on Robinhood. Yes, this is a true mission. So, with that being said, these are the 3 trades that I would have taken if I had access to my orb, and I didn't test a new futures platform with Robinhood, even though it was going well in the beginning. So now let's do some more examples of. I would like to give you guys some more examples. There's clear drawing. Oh my god. Remove 28 drawings. There we go. Let's do some more examples of orb, because I know you guys want to learn the actual HOK orb. This is a good bullish analysis. It dropped early morning. It rode the wave coming up. It did not reject, but it definitely retested. The long one. When it rejects, when it breaks through the top, Law 2 is bullish. So Law 2 being bullish, when it breaks through the top, you're going to wait for the closest possible retest before re-entering on a long. Which means if you did it that way, you would have caught all of this instead of the in and outs that I ended up doing. You would have caught all of this one sitting. Okay? So now let's look at other examples. Let's go to the previous day orb, the orb that we did win. So New York session, a great example of rule number 1, imbalance. So this New York session stayed imbalanced the whole time. So we're just looking for the dashed line square of New York only. So this square is New York only. Let's zoom it out a little bit more. Boom, there we go. So New York session. For this yesterday's session, 9:30 came. Boom, instant buy. The buy was amazing. I forgot your name, who joined yesterday. You have a unique name, and I do not want to say it wrong. Chen Quan Ming Frank. He is a witness. He was able to catch this long with us from the bottom. So we caught this beautiful long and literally caught the sell right after. No, apologies. It was reverse. We caught the sell first. I saw this bottom. which ended up being, guess what? The HOK orb low. So what did I say? You know what? Two outcomes are going to happen. It's either going to break and retest, which on the retest I can cut my loss, or I can buy now and it possibly be rule number one. What? Play the top and bottom. So the typical supply and demand strategy, or support resistance, whatever you would like to call it. Buy low, sell high within range. So here we buy. So literally, as a witness, Chen can say, hey, we sold, Joe called the cut in the chat, and then we bought together in the chat, and we caught all of this until our stop loss got hit out about right here. So a buy sell in the same day. That was a beautiful day for me. I know Chen made back a lot of drawdown from one of his prop firms. Sorry to use you as an example, brother, but this is all meant for the goodness of all of us traders here. I am unorthodox, and I'm trying to make sure that to let you know anyone can trade and become profitable. You just have to stick to the discipline. Okay, so boom. Let's say you stuck to the discipline. Was there another sell opportunity here for selling the high this day because it stayed in range? Yes. Look, you could have sold. It hit the top here. So law number one. Sell the range. You would have sold that range, you would have got stopped out. You could have sold this range, you would have got stopped out. You could have sold this whole entire range and then get stopped out. You still had another 3 opportunities to win throughout the session. Well, including nighttime, Tokyo session. So rule number 1, let's recap. Rule number 1 of orb. We'll get into all the other fine things soon. So rule number 1 of orb. If it stays within range, bouncing like a ball between the green line and the red line, you're going to play the lines until it makes a decision. Sell the green, buy the red. Rule number 2, let's go to today's situation. When it makes a decision, which it did, let's clear the board. Remove drawings. So rule number 2, bullish. Boom. A bullish sentiment. Shows a break. I need the pen, sorry. Shows a break. I cleared the board. Come on. This is why you don't use a Mac, guys. You need the mouse. You need a mouse. So boom. On open already. Came. Broke the high. Came down. It actually rejected the first time. Right? So I actually would have been in the sell from here. Well, the top. We would have got stopped out here with my trailing stop loss. So instead of it being $100, we probably would have walked away with $75. We're not in a buy yet. So let me actually remove that. So boom, it breaks again. We saw the break. So now we're waiting on a retest. This was not much of a retest, so we most likely would have missed it. But this would have been the opportunity to enter. This would have been the other opportunity to enter, as it is a bullish orb. So this is a bullish orb. You'll have multiple chances to enter it on the retest. So now let's look for a bearish. Hopefully Monday was the bearish day. That's an in-range day. That's not really bearish. It has to break the bottom. I want to give you guys a bearish day. Rule number 3, because there's only 3 rules for HOK orb. I keep it very simple. You let the market come to you. Okay, this is a decent one. This is actually a retarded one. But this would have been a good example. So now rule number 3, the bearish HOK orb. So rule number 1, you're playing in zone. So you're playing between the green and the red. You're playing inside the zone if this is football. You're playing the line. Rule number 2, bullish. You're waiting for a break retest on the green line so you can play outside the zone. So now you can go do your pass plays. You can do your Hail Marys. You can do your play action if this is football, since we just had the Super Bowl. All right. Rule number 3, bearish, which is just the opposite of bullish. Number 2, boom. Bearish sentiment came down, broke, retest a bunch of times, right? And then finally, this one is the hard one because you would have had to wait for this to sell here to acquire all of this. So this one was a one chance opportunity. I only would have took that one right here. I would have missed all of this for the retest. If you're actually following orb, you want to wait for that retest on the bottom red line. How many touch points is this? So this big one dropped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 candles before the retest, right? So technically, yeah, you could have sold here, but that wouldn't have been much. It wouldn't have been worth it. You would have probably fucked yourself over. Sorry for the French. Here, you wouldn't have bought here because you would have thought it was going to extend more. You would have waited for this big candle drop. So you wouldn't have sold here. Trust me. It's because you see it now. You think you would have sold it. You wouldn't have sold there. You would have thought this would have been a continuating bullish run back into the zone. You would have needed this candlestick first to say, okay, wick, all right, boom, I'm selling right here. I'm selling that pressure to get all of this. That is your rule number 3. You want to make sure you stay below the red line and enter at the line. Those are the 3 that I literally live off of because it plays out every time. So on all indices, indexes, whatever you would like to call them. Boom. So now let's play a game. Let's go back because now I don't remember any of these sessions. But just from looking at it, you could kind of tell what session it was. This was an in-range session. Rule 1. Play the highs and the lows. If you played the highs and the lows, you would have 8. How many times would you have 8? Boom. 10 o'clock. All right? You would have sold here. Literally hit the high on the dot. Boom. You would have sold here. You would have bought here. You kind of would have been 50-50, but eventually you would have sold in this area. You would have lost this. Well, selling this, if you caught all of it, you probably would have exited here. You wouldn't have bought until about here. Right? You would have seen this happen. You would have started buying around the point of control. Right? You wouldn't have sold this. You would have came here that you see the retest. You would have sold this, and then we would have got stopped out about here. And then that's it. After that, everything else was invalid. By the way, it's already 3 p.m. You're not worried about it. Your day has had a good day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would have counted this as 5 trading opportunities. Let's keep going back. HOK orb. What rule is this? 1, 2, or 3? Rule number 2, bullish. Bullish sentiment. Dropped pre-market. And then took off. Came, you would have seen the retest. Right? You would have bought up here on the retest. As it broke through further, you would have caught all of this. And we would have held because my stop loss would have been lower than this anyway. As a trailing stop loss, it would have been lower anyway. But I could keep going back and you can keep seeing all of these examples. But I'm trying to keep all of my Zooms to under 30 minutes. And not Zooms, all my lives to under 30 minutes as if it was a show. Thank you for tuning in with us. I'm going to keep this up. I'll probably make it private and post it in the WAP. But this was a good little explanation of 1, today, what happened. 2, also to test how to stream on YouTube without using Streamlabs and etc. Because I kind of like the raw motion of just logging on and clicking the stream. I used to have all these fancy Twitch intros and things, but I'd rather get to the sauce, the juice. Let's just get it over with. So if you do have any questions, please come into the WAP. Let me check the WAP real quick. There's nothing in general. If you had any questions, you would have sent it in the general on WAP because the chat is disabled right now currently because I was in a rush. The first live, you guys could not hear me. So the next live will be about the recap of tomorrow's trading day. We're going to do the same thing. You're going to wake up around 8:30, 9-ish. We're going to see what the feel is, what the vibe is of the market. We're going to see how the market is looking, how it's feeling based on new data. We're going to see what news is coming for the day. And we're just going to keep it going from there. But until then, join the WAP, wap.com/Kings Avenue. And I look forward to trading with you guys and having a profitable day tomorrow. Thank you for your time. It's brought to you by TradeLocker.com. One last thing. My biggest TradeLocker trade, right? Since you guys like talking smack, is listed right here. This is my biggest TradeLocker trade. My biggest prop firm trade was 17 grand. My biggest TradeLocker personal account, 2,000. Why? Because I'm very conservative. They also hooked us up. We have the dad hat. We have the dad hat. We have beanies, and we have other things in a hoodie. So they hooked us up. They want to make sure that we are actually live streaming. We're actually doing things. We're going live and providing value to you guys. Don't mind me. I have a haircut literally in an hour. I just wanted to get this live out the way. But like I said, enjoy, guys. Have fun. Talk soon.